challenge the school closings. You know, the lawsuit, we brought the suit saying that that Klein and the DOE did not follow the law in the way they went about so far the school closings. They didn't do the analysis they were supposed to do. They didn't get the notices they were supposed to get. A whole lot of pieces, and we filed it right after the PEP meeting. What we asked in the lawsuit is, first, that the court say that the vote should be wiped out because it wasn't legally done, that the court declare that they did this improperly, and that they have to do it according to the law. And since we filed the lawsuit, a number of other people have come and asked us if they could join the lawsuit, and we are kind of gathering a few more names before we amend the papers to add them, but a number of people in groups and a number of legislators who asked us, and the Black and Hispanic Caucus of the state legislature is in the process of, they want to do an amicus brief, a friend of the court brief, join in and support us in it. So we've got a lot of support for it. What we did late last week is to send a letter to the city's lawyers, to the Corporation Council, asking them telling them that we want to expedite this case because, frankly, all the high school choice is going on now, and kids have been asked what high schools they want, and the first match is happening. And we don't want the city to be able to say, we don't know what they're planning to do, but we don't want them to say to kids, oh, these schools are closing, so there's not going to be a 9th grade class in Columbus or Smith or whatever, and so you have to pick another school. Because then, even if the court stopped it, you know, there's no freshman class. So we asked them to, first we had to go to the city and say, agree to expedite this case. Now, we haven't heard from them. We don't expect them to agree to expedite the case. But by the end of this week, if they haven't agreed, we're going back to court. We'll actually go to court the beginning of next week to ask the judge to either expedite the case. We'll actually ask the judge to stop them from going ahead with any change in the match, with, you know, and that they should deal with the high schools as if they were going to be open. And that'll get things moving, and the judge will hopefully either grant that or expedite the case, because we don't want to end up with something where, you know, next September or October we win this case, but the schools are already closed and there's no freshman class. So hopefully next week we'll have an update on this. You know, we've always said, and I just want to be clear, that it will take a very gutsy judge to say to them, you know, you can't close these schools. We really think they violated the law and they shouldn't be able to, but our expectation, I mean, we hope the judge would say, you have to do it over again, you know, at the very least. You have to do it right if you're going to do it. The time is running, and, you know, if they don't, they have the last day they have for putting anything out that could happen next year would be March 6th. So it's pretty close. I mean, if they don't, you know, if a judge said you have to do it over and it was after March 6th, they couldn't close the schools next year. So we don't know what's going to happen. We're hoping that we'll get the judge to stop them from making any changes that assume that the schools are closed. We should know more next week.
Yeah, I don't know
I'm sorry, I should have come up with the exact date. I will get word to people tomorrow on where the dates are now.
Yes.
Where's the next court date?
Let you all know so that we can get it around. We don't have a date yet.
Is there anything else
papers,
that
our papers,
parents,
the city has,
teachers, community groups do that
25 days
help
or so
push?
to reply.
Because I think, you know, when it first came out, the UFT was doing the lawsuit, I think everyone was excited about it. But I don't know if anyone knew like exactly how they could help drive this thing. So I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe it's just in the hands of the courts, but
Well, I mean, I believe that it is always good when we do, as the gentleman back there asked, when we do have a court date, I think it's important that the community show its support at that point. I mean, I think that the other thing is that, you know, despite what some people like to say, lawyers are very political beings, judges are very political beings too. They know what's going on, they know when they have a hot case, and, you know, we were thrilled with all of the activity that was going on before the case was filed, because then the judge, of course, knew that this was, you know, 2,000, 3,000 people at Brooklyn Tech, etc. To the extent, and I don't think it should be done for just the law school, just for the lawsuit, but to the extent that people are still doing things and raising this issue, whether it's at city council hearings or anything else, and it continues to get press, and there's evidence that the community is still concerned, I think that that makes a difference to judges.
What about getting people to sign on, or is it, like, I know you talked about the Black and Latino Caucus was going to sign on, or do an addendum or something.
You know, we have a mix of, you know, we have AQE, we have the NAA, we have a mix of groups that have signed on to this, and plus some individuals. We have some CEC presidents and stuff who felt they were. While, you know, a particular person may feel very strongly about it, I don't think that it makes sense to have hundreds of people signed on. It just gets very complicated then, because anything that happens in the lawsuit, everybody has to, you know. So I think we feel like, especially if the caucus does a friend of court brief and everything, that shows how much support there is. Yes.
Are we making any issue at all about how unfairly this impacts ethnic and lower socioeconomic people? That this is weighing much more on our neighborhoods and not at all on theirs.
It's not in the lawsuit, and I'll tell you why. It's not that it isn't actually happening, but when we looked at what we could do under this law, we felt that we had some very clear things, some very specific things, a violation of the law. And we could go to court under what's called an Article 78, which is that basically the public officials are not doing what the law says they have to do. They're not carrying out their duties. Bringing a discrimination suit is a whole different set of rules and everything, and probably a different court. And so we made the choice that we thought we had a very good, tight case here. That's a much more difficult case, although it's obviously really what's happening. So we needed to move fast, and we needed to get in there to try and stop this, and so we made a legal decision to go this route.